And just like that, the next episode has begun. Welcome back to Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I am your host, MegaShadowFist. I suck at video games, I suck at commentary, and this would normally, under normal circumstances, be the final episode of the recording session, but I'm doing a double recording session this week so I can be prepared for a month or two from now. But anyway, without further ado, we're having a rather heartwarming scene here that it's unfortunate that I had to break in half like this, but let's go ahead and continue. No, Athena, it's just the opposite. Oh, I guess to give you guys some context here. Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena, it's just the opposite. They emit its sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power is much stronger than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No! That can't be true! Then why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much? Her love for you is real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Punko is a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Punko away in the boarding lodge trash chute, and I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It would seem that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something. Anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is... prepared to... present evidence. Mr. Wright... Yes, Athena? It's... okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall? It appears Miss Cykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Cykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then if you would, please take the stand, Miss Cykes. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared and the dark age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt, and bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say, these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But, before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright! But, Mr. Wright! me! I killed her! I remember it now! Any counter-argument now is pointless!
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? Is you is or is you ain't my baby. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. There's definitely something wrong with the memory of the event. I can just tell. If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it to the court now. Okay, so she is saying that, my memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep, and I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle into my fingers. Okay, well, that's actually a little bullcrap. Let's present this. Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it! I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers! That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of the sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right! Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly! Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone. But she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think! What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The defendant used a different weapon, or the blood was wiped off the weapon. Okay, well, I can't say that these are conclusions that I would have come with, but you know, that's why I'm not a lawyer. So the defendant used a different weapon. So, but we're trying to say that she very clearly remembers stabbing. Maybe she did stab her and she somehow managed to not kill her or something. Okay? Like that's a possibility. It's a very Phoenix Wright story. The blood was wiped off the weapon. I feel like I don't like either of these. But, you know, we have enough of a patience meter that we could get away with making a mistake, so my gut tells me the defendant used a different weapon, but my brain tells me that's wrong. But I'm going to go with my gut. Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Cykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly? Right, of course you would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here. Not now. That's right. I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Yes, it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something. There is. There is a high probability that was in the lab. I don't have the particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. You trying to say the utility knife? Because that's the only other blade we have. Take that! But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case! Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this ones are issued to Space Center employees. And a robotics lab, especially, would naturally have one of these around. Objection! But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know. Objection! Of course I knew that! Once you told me just now. Then here's something else you already knew. You already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene. But it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. The blade is clearly missing. You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Okay, but no one's going to raise the point that there's a missing frickin' slot there? Okay, whatever. Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? They're supposed to spell out the whatchamacallit. Therefore, there is no other bladed weapon in the room. Objection! I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, you're the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. No, he is simply watching out for her ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Ah, I see, they do. Well, what significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. I mean, you could have pointed that out by the empty frickin'... Okay, whatever. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics simply helped you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. He's mad. Show the core then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to rearrange the tools? Do we have anything with that design on it? Oh, we do have this. Take that! And what design is this supposed to represent? The Gaiaxis logo, Your Honor. It's all in the Space Center's document and pamphlets. I guess this must have been one of those cases where, like, multiple evidence could have worked, because they didn't show, like, the judge said that rather generic, kind of like we got it wrong, and there's no picture. So is there anything else here that has, like, the symbol on it? Oh, this does too. Yeah, the pamphlet. Yeah. It's all in the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. Pamphlets! As you're aware, Gaiaxis is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look at how bright the Gaiaxis logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway! I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going! Gaxa, huh? Isn't it the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Ah, I think I see it now, but... Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo. The red A part of the logo is missing, which is incidentally on the knife. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place that utility knife in the open slot, it would complete the Gaxa logo. So it would! Then that means... Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Cykes used could have been this one. My aesthetic sense is better than yours. Order! Order in the court! Miss Cykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Cykes most likely did stab someone, using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Cykes is the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Cykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Cykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Cykes did use the utility knife. What does that really change? Is what I've been wondering for this whole time. Tell me, how does that change anything? That's what I've been wondering. I think Phoenix is onto something, though. Right? No. No, he's not. Yeah. Right. Okay. Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was a utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Cykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then conceal the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Cykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand, for you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to leave the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to leave the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with their own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Cykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and then the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true, and the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Ergo, Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? No! Mia? Mia Faye? I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case. Thoroughly. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen! Boom! Yeah! I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Punko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Okay, so what is he saying? I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Punko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. So it could have either been MegaShadowFist, Athena Cykes, or someone else. The only one I can really see is someone else? MegaShadowFist kind of seems kind of weird. We'll go with MegaShadowFist. Maybe Dr. Cykes is still alive and she's the one who took the utility knife away? Nah, that's definitely not it. Yeah! Taking the utility knife from the lab. Athena couldn't have done it. Someone else? A third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Punko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Punko's detection? I know. This person must have fooled Punko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face. Kami, by the way. Kami is the word for mask in Japanese. So Majora's Mask is Majora no Kami. That's Zelda no Densetsu. Majora no Kami is the Japanese title. But wait a minute. Punko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Punko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. Blackwell? I guess? Sure? Yeah, I was about to say, that doesn't make sense. The culprit covered their face and posed as Prosecutor Blackwell. But Punko already said she recognized the real Blackwell. I guess true Prosecutor Blackwell isn't the answer. Back to the drawing board. So, there's facial recognition, so... Wait, what?! No, that doesn't make any sense? What if the culprit poses yeah, I was yeah, what if the culprit poses Punko? That way, the real Punko would just think she was looking in a mirror. What? Okay, now that's just silly. Scratch that. Okay, Meta Cykes. The third person poses a victim. The culprit poses the victim, but she should have been able to recognize the same argument for Blackwell could be made for her as well. The culprit poses the victim. That would explain why Punko thought only she and Athena were there. All they do is take advantage of Punko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket, because of the bar scanner thing. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves a heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Punko could detect the real Dr. Cykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Cykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit! Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Cykes. It was the person who murdered her, and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby... Objection! You forgot one thing, Your Honor! I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second, because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that... Miss Cykes is innocent. But Punko saw me! She witnessed the moment of the crime! Yes, Punko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Cykes stabbed was this third person posing as Dr. Cykes. What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? I would love to see, like, someone try to do this in real court. I would love to see it. According to the robot statement, there is no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless regardless of the facts. Clunk strange malfunction. Mr. Jarrett, you look Bill. Shall I help you to the sickbay? Ah! Roku Kapasopa! Okay. Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here has mistaken Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo's possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clunkle couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask would nullify the robot's facial recognition. And then, all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who's posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm impossible! Well, that would explain why there's no apostrophe there. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order! Order in the court! Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yes. I remember a... Ah! Athena! What is it? Ah! I remember a man with a mask. How could he... What did he do to my mother? My head! Ah! Miss Sykes, are you alright? Kinda sounds like she's pushing a baby. No! Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Well, that was dramatic. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... It's alright. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. Awkward pause. See you guys in the next episode.